So back here by popular demand, this is a manual transmission out of a Ford Mustang or something. And you see it upside down here right now. So this here is the hole where the drain plug used to be. And when the dealer tried to change the oil, the suspicion is, I don't know for sure, I wasn't there, that they impact gunned the drain plug back in to tighten it up. And I saw a bunch of stuff broken out, and I saw the old plug. So most or all of the metal fell to the bottom because this was in the car, of course, upside down. And the material is about 1/8 of an inch thick. That casting is really not all that thick. And the question was, why didn't you preheat? Well, it's 1/8 inch material. I don't need to preheat much. I much rather not melt it down, and I much rather not destroy the seal between the two halves. Then another question was, why didn't you grind it with a die grinder? Well, I prefer not to get too much aluminum shavings inside there. Other guys said, well, I'm pretty sure there's already aluminum in there and that transmission's not gonna last. Well, if you look at never-sees, anti-sees, whatever you want to call it, what it is, it's fine ground aluminum shavings with some grease. And if you would have a little bit aluminum inside that transmission with the hardened steel gears, that's exactly what it would make. It would just crush that aluminum and probably be just fine. I don't think it would do any real damage to the gears or even the bearings in there. Now, ideally, you keep dirt and dust out of it. The other thing, when you look at the surface where it's broken, and I know right now we're looking at the welding machine, but we're gonna get back there, where the brake surface is, it looks clean for all intended purposes. Like about as clean as it can be. And I could have maybe washed with a little bit acetone, but I didn't want to take a paper towel with this and then have paper shreds in there, or take a rag and rub rag and anything in there. So I'm looking at if it looks clean, it probably is clean. There is a part of a video that I made talking about oxides that will tell you the difference between wet oxide and dry oxide and how quickly or not quickly oxide forms. And again, look at this. It looks a little bit grayish there, but it doesn't really look dirty. Like the dirt is on the outside of the transmission, but not really in the broken surface. So then people say, if you weld on it, there's stuff going inside. Well, if you TIG weld and you don't MIG weld, there's really not much spatter and nothing flying around. I mean, this is a pretty tight fit up on relatively clean material. That's why you got a little bit cleaning action on your machine for. I started initially out at 60 on the balance. I later dropped it to 55. And also the rock mount Neptune rod I used is a very good rod for dealing with some amounts of contaminants. It's designed for the maintenance industry, unknown materials, dissimilar materials, and or dissimilar grades of aluminum, unknown grades of aluminum, and it can deal with a little bit contamination as well. So there was some method to my madness. And this pipe plug there, the next thing guy said, oh yeah, by the time you torque this down to 180, dude, this is a pipe plug. Nobody's gonna torque this down to 180. I mean, this is like measured in inch pounds, not in foot pounds, and it's a tapered pipe thread. So you put a little bit pipe dope on it, crank it tight, like with a small adjustable wrench or something, and you're good to go. And it doesn't really stick out past the bottom of the transmission much. And there's no scrape marks on the transmission. The guy didn't bottom out. There's a cross member under the transmission, which bottoms out way before the oil fill plug is bottoming out. So anyways, I hope I have most of these comments and concerns addressed. And I thank everybody for the interest in this job. And this is why I made this follow-up video. I'm gonna show a couple links now on the material that I used as far as the filler metal. So let's talk about the welding rod a little bit. Yes, it's very expensive, but I used 2/3 of one stick. So you can see this is for aluminum sheets, extrusion pipe, casting. It's excellent for the castings with or without preheating. And you have a very high strength, 34,000 psi, maybe anodized, helps avoid porosity. It deals with a wide range of alloys, and it helps you even if there's some contamination in there. So this filler rod has got me out of a tight spot a lot of times, and you see it flowed really nice. It adhered everywhere good. There's no pinholes or pockets. Everything flowed really nice. So I call this a successful repair. Again, I didn't want to see behind those star bolts there where the two halves are bolted together. I didn't want to destroy that gasket. I didn't want to have any shavings, no more than I needed inside there. And to me, it all worked out really nice. And if you want to do something like this, hit me up in the comments. I'll try to walk you through some of this stuff. And thank you for watching. Have a good one.